about my English, but we are going to keep it in English. So thank you everyone, the advisory committee and the team and everyone. And the jury that are the team that who support us with the evaluation of the projects, and they know better the projects than any of us. They take their time to check everything about the project, about the context, and thank you so much. We have today here two of our jury members of this edition, Gustavo Greco from Brazil, Katrin Müller from Germany. So we are today here. They are going to talk to us about their experience with the process, what they think of the projects, also about their background in design, in Ibero-American design, and what they think. Nacho Urbina, advisory committee from Venezuela, who is the director of the industrial design program in Pratt Institute. Do I tell it in English very good? Okay. And he's going to support us also with the English, and when I forget any word or something, he's going to. And we are also making a conversation. So if you have any question, any comment about what we are saying, you are more than welcome to talk with us. Thank you. So, I don't know, Nacho, do you want to say something in general, or?
No, it's just a small word just to welcome to our jury, Catherine and Gustavo, and I think we've been doing this for a long time, and I was remember this morning with some of the members of the advisory committee that the first two editions, there were no jury. We were selecting the projects and we're trying to look at our countries and see what were the more interesting projects. And then we decided to invite jury, which is for us was a release, but also it was important to have another view to the work we do. So I think it's important, and you know, Catherine and Gustavo, with this edition, just welcome to, and thank you for the whole effort to see all of the projects.
Wait. Thank you all. I wrote a text about my thoughts and the way I judge frequently, if I can share with you. May I? Okay. Just a moment. Well, my story with the Bienal Ibero-American goes back a long way, because we have been selected for the last editions. I was very surprised and happy when I was invited along with a group of renowned colleagues to select the projects for this year edition. Talking about my judge process, I always judge following criteria, of course, established by the bid, as well as the axis that they use to guide all the selection for this edition. And personally, I always use a sequence of 3 steps that I think is fair for judging process in which I participate. First, I listen to my heart and to the project that makes it beat faster. Then I sharpen my eye, what can I see there beyond the obvious? And finally, I turn to technique. Does this project meet all the requirements of an excellent design? Was the extra time spent to do that work worth a gold medal? And believe me, it's easy when we follow these steps. In contrary of what happens in nature, gold floats among the other metals when you use this sequence of judging, I guess. Talking about the Brazilian projects, Brazil was this year the country with the most awarded projects. Isn't it true, Laurie?
Yes.
Yes? 7 to be exact. These are eye-catching works showing the capacity of design to connect people, to materialize discourses, and even when silent, to make our day life better. Issues such as the profession's transversality, interdisciplinarity, and multiplicity of a country of continental dimensions and its copious cultural heritage and influences are presented in the jury's choice. The works excel in their execution and stimulates our senses. The design production in a certain period of time reflects its social, cultural, and political issues, and this is also evident in this jury perception. Talking about the Brazilian projects, 2 projects deal with Black culture in Brazil and the urgent fight against structural racism. UMITA is the first virtual museum of a Black Brazilian artist, Itamar Assunção, and the first to be translated into Yoruba, the Nigerian Congolese language of the Kawa group spoken by these people. The Quilombolas Against Racism website online since November 20th on Black Conscience Day gather news, complaints, testimonials, and information relevant to the anti-racist struggle and in favor of human rights. Issues of land rights and our people are materialized in 4 other projects. Cova Medida, a multimedia special by Reporter Brazil, is the result of a journalistic investigation on the impunity of murders in the countryside due to a real war for land that occurs in the interior of Brazil. Another project that receives highlight is VAMO, Afro-Indigenous Vector in Fashion, a movement formed by an interracial team of professionals and that was born to add to the reparatory process in Brazil fashion so that Black and Indigenous people can have tools and opportunities previously denied by the market. Fashion also emphasized cultural resistance in the collection called Terra de Gigantes, Land of Giants, which opened the 51st edition of the São Paulo Fashion Week and presents the northeast region of the country, having Cariri, Ceará, at the foot of the Chapada do Araripe as a research space. The Northeast is also represented in the project created for Ceará State Library, a state known as the Land of Light. Constant sun, cliffs, and the fruits inspired us in a palette of warm, cheerful, and sunny colors, which reinforced the power of this simple and direct brand. The 7th project, the last one, talks about the importance of the way in which data is presented and that is possible for people to interact with. For Illumio, a Brazilian data science company, an impactful visual experience was created, showing all the diversity of clients served and projects undertaken by the company. The best part for me is that all Brazilian projects that talks about Brazil without resorting to cliches. That's why I guess they were awarded in this edition. Well, this is my first thoughts just to share with you, and we can continue to our conversation.
Thank you.
I did not write a speech, but a few notes that talk more about some thoughts that I had as I was like looking at the project, but also kind of gave me a way to look back at the time when I was a student. And I had my first encounter, let's say, with Latin American design. It was a long time ago, 1988. It was the first time I studied industrial design in Hamburg, Germany. And it was the first time that the German government awarded money to travel to Cuba. And it was a very different time back then, but a very exciting time for us to go travel and essentially, I would say, basically look, basically visit different places, but also have an encounter with design students. The first, I think, when was it, 1984, ISTI was founded, and we talked to the students that were about to graduate. And I think that most likely I have met Sergio Peña, the director now, back then as a student. And it was a very interesting kind of reflection of, we were actually traveling there, kind of coming from a Western country, looking for alternatives of alternative ways of approaching design in a more sustainable way, or like in a more also political way. And it was really interesting that, yes, of course, we were kind of looking for answers, but we're also met with the same way of trying to find answers and looking to the West for answers. So there was this kind of exchange of, how should we go about it? And actually I was impressed back then also of the work, because it was, whether it's out of need or however you would like to describe it, dealing with materials, alternative materials, which were derived from the fibers from sugar planting, and making like furniture from it. And these are things that my students are doing now again, right? Like it's basically something that happened already. So it was really nice to basically see him here again, meet him again, but also to kind of reflect back on that situation, which also, refers a bit back to what you were talking about. The solutions that were found back then were very local, very regional. But then when we also looked at the work with the sustainable aspects of social, environmental, economical issues that are all part of the sustainability, we're seeing, even though it's like a regional competition, we're seeing answers to worldwide problems that really have to be met everywhere. And I wanted to also address that it's like, it's really impressive to see, I would say, the desire to make a difference. And that's also something that I noticed when we had the networking event, and there was so much desire and so much energy and so much willingness to really make a difference worldwide in the end. I also wanted to talk a little bit, because I'm a professor now for design and ecology, and sustainability was something that always interested me, and I saw a lot of projects that were dealing with these environmental issues. And in the end, like in terms of the selection process, like there are all these layers in terms of, okay, so why was this done, where was this done, what was the context, what were the solutions, but also in the end it also had to convince through the design. So there was like this, the aspect of, yes, we have people that might select products for the reason of knowing that this has a certain cause, but we will still have people that, don't care. And I think it's important that we convince also through, through our professions, through the design, because this is when we can have people keep what they own and went for it. One more story, if I can. When I studied in Germany, I went to the US, started to work there, lived there for 20 years, taught there with Ignacio, and started to get into, sustainability was not really considered in New York at that time. I mean, way away, so I had the opportunity to actually get into projects that usually you don't get into, because I had some experience or like was considering sustainable aspects. And I worked with this architect, Ronald Riley architect, and designed the interior of the first sustainable daycare center in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And then we tried to essentially convince the clients that come, like private clients, to you know, go for sustainable options and choose them over, like, let's say, the regular options. But there was a lot of suspicion, too expensive, at least at the beginning, not known enough, and so on. And then at some point, I decided, okay, so this is not the way we're getting anywhere. And I thought, okay, from now on, I won't talk about sustainability when I offer the options. I will only give them sustainable options that they have to choose from. But I don't care whether they know about it or not. I just wanted to be part of the project. And in the end, they had to, what I was pointing out before, they had to select it because they liked it. They liked the design, they liked the options, the materials. And that's kind of going back to what I said, like in the end, we have to also convince through design.
I don't know if talking about sustainability and with your experience in several campus branches and in different countries, do you think the designers who are into the sustainability, do they have any differences between if they are from Iberoamerica, if they are from United States, if they are from Germany, if they are from, or is like...
Yeah. You have more experience in different
countries.
countries, I guess, because...
I don't know, I mean, I would say right now, no. Like, I don't know, maybe yes or no, let's say, okay. There were like several projects, like for example, I talked to, and I'm sorry, like I met so many people and I'm not good with names, so. But they were like, for example, the project that worked with Kapok, and I talked to her for a long time. Is she here? No. And she was, yeah, it was a really impressive project. I think I don't know, no, right now we're seeing, it's the dress, the fashion,
yes,
with the, you know, the very lightweight material. I think
Susan, but
Susan.
she was, I don't know now.
And
At
it's a
4:30
pity
she was
that
here.
we can't touch it because it's very
Well, I did.
important. No, we didn't, but I was like, they called my attention
and
again
it's
today. I
really
was with Giovanni yesterday.
Exactly.
Don't touch it today, the
Yeah.
same. Don't touch it. And I say, okay. For me, there is no design without touching. There is.
because it's very soft, it's very lightweight, and I had just now a student graduating with a project, working with Kapok, doing a fashion project, creating a line with it. And so in that sense, there's no difference. Like these kind of issues are being addressed everywhere, or let's say should be addressed everywhere. It's also always tricky when we talk about, you know, I know there had to be categories, you know, to kind of say, okay, this project is more about this or that. But really what sustainability should be is integrated into any project, and it should not be its own category anymore.
I guess it's mandatory, this issue, of course, but for sure the background of different countries make it in a different way. We are talking about some countries that have really real problems, and it's difficult to deal with this.
Exactly.
Although it's important.
That's why it's yes
urgent.
and no. Exactly.
Yeah. It's a discussion. It's not
because you know there is like a more direct need, of course, and then there's something where we know that we need to do something, but maybe there's not as much immediate pressure, but in the end it needs to be addressed everywhere. So.
And I understand, because we discussed that for a long time, the idea that sustainability was a discourse that started very strong in the 90s and then became almost like a creation of methodologies to address it. And then now what we need to do is just embed it into the project, not to talk about that. It's just to do it.
Yes, exactly.
Do it with that.
It's not an option
Yeah.
anymore.
So I'm just imagining that many discourses are acting the same thing. And recently, when I say recently, it's the past 10 years with more force, the idea of a social design, the idea that, you know, designers have to, you know, in order to do something that really impact people, they need to approach communities and, you know, have this idea. Do you see some difference how we approach, probably Catherine that teaches students in Germany, but probably you see other projects around the world. It's a different how, as a Latin American, we approach social design. What is the difference? Because I have seen a lot of difference how Americans do approach social design from Venezuelans. Because we have the lungs, we have the social design as a need every time, but in other countries, they just do it as a methodology, as a, you know, it's inserted in the programs. So, is there a difference if you suffer it and then you just need to do it, or if you just approach it because, which both I think is fine because this is what it is. But do you see some impact in the project as you see what you see is reflected in there? I know
We are discussing
we
a
don't talk
little
a
bit
lot.
about this in our lunchtime. We went again to the exhibition to see all the projects again, to discuss together, because we didn't have the opportunity to talk to each other. We have a lonely process of judging. And now we were here to discuss a little bit more together, and it was very nice to go there and see the projects and touch them.
Even if they are in the museum.
Yeah, it was very good. And we are discussing a little bit about this, how different it is for me, that I'm Brazilian and I live in a country with all these kind of problems that are being trying to be solved or showing some answers for these problems. And for her that has been many times to this kind of countries, but it's from another
from
time, the other side, yeah. So
It's a different
it's always,
perspective.
I say, because it's always important to, when you are composing a jury, to have this different kind of point of views for the same kind of project, because, it's different when you have hungry and you think about it, and when you are trying to solve a problem that you haven't felt before. So
I think what is like a maybe
good
nice nice representation of that is I remember being in New York for just a few years, and there was an exhibition at Cooper Hewitt at the Design Museum, and it was called Design for the Other 99%, meaning basically we know what you need and we'll come to you and tell you what you should be doing. They now call that same exhibition differently, finally, which is called Design with the Other 99%, meaning like there is no, this kind of,
there's
that's
no
like,
design without the ones
yes,
we
you
are
have to,
designing
yes,
for. Yeah.
exactly, and it has to work in the context of it, in the climate, in the culture, and someone coming there from the outside is not the expert for that. They can, like collaborate and so on, but it has to also, let's say, once you leave again, it has to sustain itself. Like that's what sustainability is about. It has to be able to be maintained and work in that environment. And so that's maybe a good explanation of like how I think slowly that perspective is changing, like we know what you need versus...
Yeah, but what we discussed during our lunchtime, it was amazing to see how this kind of social, political, and that try to solve these Ibero-America countries are represented in the jury selection. Of course, we had some guides that were trying to select in this way, but we are we were 6 different people judging alone in different countries. And when we see the result of this edition, I guess 90% of the projects maybe talk about this.
Yeah.
This kind of.
Yeah, it's true.
It was very impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
And it's important to see
Yeah.
how design is also changing the field of.
Yeah.
It's not about, of course, for decades, it's not about only the formal of the stuff. And then we pass through a phase that we were discussing, how we think when we are seeing a problem. But now, what you said is, I guess design is more and more aware about this social impact and how can. I don't like to put design in the superhero role. You know, we will save the world. It's not about that. But when you think about design solutions that can even try to give a better life to the others, is for me is the point when you are
in something.
Something,
Yeah,
yes,
relevant.
relevant. Otherwise, it's just a beautiful color again. I don't have anything about beautiful colors. The opposite.
And I'm just one thing. It's just a small thing. Talking about
That's why you're here.
talking about the discourses that there's an expression in United States that I like it. This idea of the elephant in the room. You know, somebody. There's an elephant in the room. All of you know it's an expression that says that it's an elephant in the room. Nobody talks about the elephant. So it's very obvious that we need to talk about the elephant. So I'm connecting that with discourses. How do you see, more than the social impact and the topics and the themes that the designers, and we can see it in the projects in here, how do you see the idea of the colonization, right? About the influences, about how forms are getting or traveling from Western and how we adapted, or what is this process? Because we are in the middle of this discussion. I know it can take a very political line, but I think we need to bring that discussion to the center of design and see what are the actual impacts, and not trying to make it a political discussion and make a political design discussion, which is a different thing, that impacts form and impacts the actual contact with the objects and the visuals and the result, the outcome of design. So I was just imagine, all of the objects and visuals that you saw. How do you see the influences? How do you see the colonization in there? Is the presence? Is not? It is about to leave? Is to root it? What is it? I don't have answers. It's just a question for me.
But in our choices, we can say a little bit about it.
Yeah.
We'll focus again on the Brazilian awarded projects. First of all, I want to say that I read the book Political and Design, this one?
Yeah.
And I love that phrase that says, design is never neutral.
Yeah.
We always have a social, political, and cultural background behind our decisions. And we can see it clearly in the project selected for this edition. But talking about the Brazilian ones, we have 7 awarded projects. 6 of them has this kind of colonization influence, because we are talking about racism, we are talking about the use of lands, we are talking about the northeast of the country, which is a very rich region, but at the same time very poor because of political decisions and all the stuff around it. And we only have one project that is not directly talking about social issues, but it's about how can we present data information for the others, so it's political in a way at the same time. So that's why I was always saying that during our visit. For me, it was the first time I've been part of many international juries for the last years, but it was the first time I saw an amount of awarded projects that are mostly talking about this kind of maybe because we are an Ibero-American Design Award.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe.
Yeah, I think also when when the finalists are basically in one room and we looked at it together because we didn't have that kind of discussion, right? Before.
Today we discussed a lot.
Yeah.
My newest friend.
Thank you. It became very obvious that this is a big part of the discussion or the discourse that is happening and that is represented in the projects. Because when you look at them one by one, yes, you each time you get the sense of it, and it seemed also that even though we judged it separately, we were essentially taken by the same issues or the same topics. We essentially went for the same kind of, as you said, subjective responses, which are always, there's no objective way of going about it. It's always depending on the situation, the context, and the individuals that are actually,
Another
trying to
point
find
that we saw also
answer.
in this amount of project is very local culture of crafts or how to preserve this historical way to do something. We saw it a lot in that vases project, in the
Beautiful.
ceramics one, in the how they do the fabrics, and it's another, I guess, important point for our the countries that are here in the, because again of the colonization that many times kill this kind of knowledge. These projects that try to preserve them and how to show it in a different way to be more attractive and more respected and more value for the people who, we saw it a lot.
And also again the project that I mentioned earlier that is also dealing with there's this environmental aspect of the material that is local. There's a political or again environmental aspect, but also in a political sense, knowing that the land is being burned down, that these kind of trees with these kind of fibers are essentially taken away, and because these things happen rapidly, and to essentially rush almost to a place where this can become a cultural area that is respected, that is awarded, that can be preserved, and along with it, the craft, as you said, the design for it, and so on. So, which is a lot, but it's also, it's very admirable.
As Catherine said, they are humans designing for or with, as you said, humans, like to give them better life and also dignity.
Nice.
There was just a small,
Just a
small one. Just a small one. No, it's because I asked about that because sometimes with the discourses, again, I'm very focusing this, that designers use discourses to vehicle what they do. But what happened is sometimes, and especially in the decolonization discourse, it's very easy to not design because the discourse is too strong. So the statement is already what you get. And what I like about the hours and what I saw is that there is a actual problem in there, but there is a design solution. There is a design vehicle. It's not just a statement.
It's not only to show
the problem, which is no, it's strong, it's fine, but it has a design answer for that, which is I
hate those kind of projects that are
just a statement.
They are made for win awards. They choose a very specific problem in this kind of countries that are ours.
Yeah.
And have the buzzwords.
And
Yeah.
try to make a show around it, and that solution that pretends to solve,
Yeah.
but it's only what you said. It's only a speech,
A
statement.
What-
It's not about what are you doing here. What are you standing? What are you really standing for?
Yeah.
What are you trying to? What are you doing? Is
What
the
are you doing?
best
What are you doing?
question.
There's actually also, like, going through it, looking at the projects, we talked also about, not all of the submissions are done by designers per se. And that was also something that was very unique about this competition, that they would submit to a design competition, but they're actually not necessarily done by designers. But they were still considered in the same way and being taken seriously in the same way,
Because it's design at the end.
yes, absolutely. And it's also like, there was also with a lot of the projects, because not everyone, has done competitions many times and knows how to present and so on, but there was a way that we could look at the different layers behind it. Like, there were a lot of links, there were a lot of additional information that are not, necessarily visible right away in these projects. And sometimes something would grab me, or, like in the process of it, that was not there at first, but then when you looked at it, how it came about, and the additional really material information, then it was amazing sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, you really understood the entire project. So that was nice to see that it wasn't always, like the glamour aspect of it. Like, it wasn't always done that way, and still it had so much strength and was compelling.
Nice.
Nice. No,
Yeah, please,
can I
please.
talk now?
Sorry. Sorry.
But just a
Sorry.
little bit.
Sorry,
Just a
sorry,
little.
sorry.
We have been talking about like general aspects and some things that connect every project. Did you see any specific aspects of some country? Because you as a jury, you see the projects without the country. Maybe in the description you can find, but
sometimes
you are
can
not.
see, but it's not.
But there is like, can you see a project and, well, if you may be from Cuba, you may be from Brazil, because you like have more information about the projects, but can you with some projects or with some countries can say like, this project should be from Brazil, this project should be from Caribbean area, or you can't find
Sometimes
like.
because of the contest you can, but I was not trying to find out which country.
I also think it's not something I can answer. It's like
But
yeah.
I was more worried about the answer for the problem they are showing. Yeah, but sometimes you can see for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, it's kind of like, it goes back to this question, like, yes, of course, it is a regional competition, right? But then, I think it's good to also see the local aspects of it, and it stems from there. But then at the same time, I saw so many connecting aspects that are being dealt with everywhere. But then again, the solutions that are being found or developed are very local again, right? But they could also sustain in other ways too. But I think it's important to, like, there is no one solution, there is no global solution that fits every problem. We have to look at the context, the cultural, the climate, everything. And so it is nice to see then the specificness of these solutions that are, designed for that place specifically, even though as an overall it's dealing with general issues.
And also are those we went also to the shortlist room,
Yeah.
and we were saying, I vote for this,
Yes,
didn't
me
you?
too.
Yes, I
was
vote
like,
for
this
this
should
too.
not be here.
Yeah. Let's take it for the second floor.
I know.
So talking about this short list, among the, besides the Brazilian projects that you talked already about, and besides probably the Cuban, the one that you talked, or the dress, is there any project that you remember that stand and it was
Yes.
different or,
Sable.
catch your attention or
We
something?
made this exercise also for this speech. I love one that is very, very simple from Portugal, but it's a way to packaging for ceramics. It's a very colorful ceramic with a gray paper fold in a very simple, direct to the point. For me, it always caught my attention. I guess Catherine also liked that
Yeah.
one, the
Which one?
ceramic colorful one.
Yes, I did.
Now, groups
And
of
we-
two.
We talked about also the fabric one, very beautiful. What else? The prostheses from
Yeah.
for
Yeah, there's-
divers.
For
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also, it's nice.
Tiburão Balena, did I say right?
Yeah.
Yes. Tiburão Balena is the name of the project that, you can say because you talked to them.
Yeah, I don't know, is someone here from?
They're there.
Yes.
They're there.
Because I talked to the designer, like at the networking event, which was really nice also to get to know people personally and hear more about the background. And it was very impressive to hear that they're a group of 4 sisters. Yay to sisterhood. And that they basically create this business and they're developing it and they have the agenda to design for the elderly and disabled, and it's very impressive. So I hope for a lot of success for you. And so that, for example, was very impressive. There was, the textile, like I have a colleague of mine who works in the international office. She's from Peru. And she got so excited about all the projects that are from Peru. And I've suddenly found myself, I don't know, not by accident, but I talked to all the people from Peru. And I will bring pictures back to Germany. Because she
Yeah.
will be so proud.
Those ceramics ones
Yeah.
also, that vase.
Yeah.
Very beautiful.
Yeah.
The kind of project that you say, I would like to
Yeah.
have one in my house.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And that was, and it had all these layers to it, like it was a youth project,
Yeah.
youth at risk, and incredibly beautiful.
Also that
There's
one that
know
looks
the
like an envelope.
It's
The
not.
ceramics
I
made
will-
from women. Do you know?
Oh,
that
yes,
like
yes.
a
And
square.
sorry, we had to look at so
We
many
don't have
projects,
the,
but
I don't remember
have all
the country
names.
for this one.
Yeah.
Oh, this signage system also is very, very, very nice because it's simple at the same way. It's sharp. It's yeah. Many
There
good
was there was this project that you just talked about, like women as part
Yeah.
of like an economic project, working with concrete, molding it,
Yes.
and it was so nice and simple and beautiful. And then there was one project, and I tried to, I don't know,
find
maybe it's
it.
coming up, but I can't see it. There was one project that also impressed me in the aspect, like we haven't yet talked so much about inclusivity. I mean, a bit, prosthetics project. It's a museum for sea animals, designed for, yay, designed for deaf and like it's for deaf people and please help me.
Autism, I guess.
No,
No.
Blind?
no, it's like people that can't see and people that can't hear. So, so it was set up in terms of the senses, like touching, 3D printed object of sea animals that you can touch, that you can
Is
learn
it
about that
possible
way.
for them to say
Yeah.
some words about this project? That
Yeah,
we
I just want to say one thing, because
Yeah,
is
please.
that
You
the
can make a
project,
point.
your project, or is it a different one?
I'm a little bit confused because I don't know if you're talking about.
I think that, no,
Parque Explora.
I think it might be a different one,
I
but
think there are two projects
Similar.
related to animals.
yes, this was about sea animals, but I know yours too, and it's also really beautiful. The one that I wanted to talk, just like there was this moment, because there were these things that you can't see at first in the images about, you know, the museum and how it was designed, but there were these links to these videos.
No, no, don't.
No, but
That's fine.
no,
They
and
were-
we don't have a. But I
Yeah.
think it's
We
Parque
will find
Explora.
out, yeah,
I'm going
exactly.
to be like this, and when I say it, I'm going to say is that one, okay?
So, yeah, because I think what I want to talk about is like something that is not visible right away, because there were these links that we could look at to these videos that, of course, also me looking at the work, not speaking Spanish, I was, you know, like there was always an English summary, but I still kind of tried to, you know, figure out what was happening. And there was these videos of like younger people, older people talking about the sea animals. It wasn't in sign language. There was an audio, like Spanish-speaking audio in the back. But the way the people were talking about it with their hands, with their eyes, with their expression about the sea animals and essentially imitating them and almost like living them or making them become alive I loved it. It was so impressive, and it was something that I just discovered, you know, looking at more layers behind
Is
it.
this one, right?
Yeah. Oh, can you
I'm going to show. I don't know if you can.
like just? But you can't see the videos.
yes. No, but I
But you
think
should go there and look at the videos and see the links, because it's just.
It's very different, and it's
Yeah.
it's another
Yeah, you-
thing
you
we are
can-
talking about. It's the way the project is presented. Of course, it changed.
This one? You mean this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because
yes.
This one.
If
Yeah,
you,
that's one thing. Like she's doing sign language, but there are other videos.
yeah,
where the
if you
people
only
are-
see the board
Yeah.
and the small paragraphs
Yeah.
they write about it,
You can't necessarily
But when you
understand
see
it
the
right now.
video, and
Exactly.
that's what Catherine said, the real action of the project
Yeah.
and the field it was made for.
It was unbelievable. So, and then, which also gets me a little bit to something else that is lately also, you know, dear to my heart, is this kind of, you know, we talked about different perspectives, right, outside, inside, different cultural perspectives and so on. And we're not even, I would say, you know, like at a place where we're considering every human being in a respectful way. We're certainly far away from considering and respecting other creatures in our world in a respectful manner. And that's also, like, I'm actually teaching a seminar that is kind of dealing with that. But that's why I also, like, this spoke to me, because it was almost like an, you know, an approach, or like a trying to essentially get into the perspective of other creatures and making them, giving them a lobby, essentially. Like, that's
Yeah.
what was really exciting.
Okay.
does anyone have any comment, question?
Can ask.
Oh, now we can see you.
Yes. No, there's no questions. Yes, there is one.
I always do questions. I would every time some people asking us some cliché question, but so I would like to pass you this question: is if there is, if you can identify something common between Ibero-American design. because we are talking with different of different countries, different economic situation. Can you see something, or there is something that is there is a globalization in the Ibero-American design related to the information we receive?
Some trends.
Yes.
I hate this word. And
Not only trends,
Yeah,
but some structural thing that belongs to the Ibero-American design.
You remember me a story that I have to tell. Once I was invited to design the cover of Novum, which is a very important Germany design magazine. And they also asked me to write a text about Brazilian design. And I said, I can do the cover, but I can't write a text about Brazilian design, because for me it's a very specific thing, and we have specialists too. So I said, what about me interviewing a guy that is a specialist about Brazilian design, which was Chico Homem de Melo. And this in this question, how can we define Brazilian design? And I will never forget the answer he gave me, that we never should try to define a design of a country, because every time we try to do that, we are always trying to show these cliches, and these cliches are not the answer for design of a country. I remember, because your question is a very good one. And for the first time, again, I said I participate in many international design awards, judging projects all around the world. And in this kind of projects, I always see something like a line that we can identify in all the projects. But here, I don't know, what do you think about it? I can't say that they are. The thing they have in common for me is the thing I've been repeating here, I'm sorry, but most of them are trying to pay attention in the problems or the questions or the specific issues that these countries have, and trying to give them answers. That is the thing they have in common for me. Because I can't say a typography that we see a lot, I can say a way to present the projects that we saw a lot. Did you?
It, again, like it's, of course, it's my other perspective, but I think also, I would agree that I would almost not want to, find an answer to that question, because it's
Good question.
it's because it's also it easily would go into a very stereotypical direction, right? Because it's something that we then it's almost like folklore, or I don't know, like when we talk about what identifies it's the same thing about German design. It's like what people think is Bauhaus and
Maybe an inner look,
and then it's like, but that's many years ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's very
inner look.
like difficult to
Yeah.
because also what you do with that, you essentially manifest it, and it becomes very inflexible. It's not local, it's not specific to the situation. It essentially, it's something that then stereotypically can be repeated. And there's also, it reminds me also about the discussion.
Yeah, but to give you an answer, maybe an inner look, All the projects are trying to look inside our questions and conflicts. And
like this, the conflicts are specific.
Yeah.
The
Many
political
conflicts,
questions.
many conflicts,
the political questions are specific, and these are, I guess, the connecting, as you said, in terms of when you talked about the Brazilian projects, there were a lot about political issues.
Lots.
And they are specific, right? But not necessarily the answers to it, or how they were manifested in a subjective way. And that's a good thing.
Yes, some of them design a dress to answer, some a hand, other a manifesto.
Depending on the situation and what is needed. Like I always call it like the appropriateness of design or the appropriateness of material. It depends on what you're finding in a situation, and there is no one solution that fits all. You have to find the most appropriate response to it in that situation.
Yeah. Well, difficult.
there any
I
more?
have just a small little thing
As
that I
well.
remember. I've been curating an exhibition from Venezuelan design, and at the very beginning, 4 editions of this. It's called No Materia. And at the very beginning, the first one, I was trying to identify as a No Materia Venezuelan design. I mean, the second, it's not a Venezuelan design. It's designed by Venezuelans.
Yeah.
So it's the common thing is they are Venezuelans, but it's just design. I think this is trying to get rid of identify something. It's more about it's about design, and happen to be the same country. It's just what they are the same.
I think that is that design, it's the way to solve problems. So what we have in common are problems.
Well, hopefully some solutions.
So that's why maybe the designers focus in solve some of the problems, and it happens that in Venezuela, in Colombia, in Ecuador, we have kind of the same problems. So the designers are going to solve that kind of problems in very different ways, but that's why the solutions are like kind of in the same, I don't know how, the globalization that we were talking about, but it's about problems, not designers or design.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
That's a good
Any other
final
question?
word. Unless someone else has a question or...
There's a question there.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe she was just
Do-
waving.
Tiburón ballena.
Hi. Can you say one word that describes the meaning of design in your life? You can describe, you only can say one word, right? That describe what is the meaning of design in your life.
Can you?
No, it's like for motivate other people.
No, she asked you.
But can you give me one word that describes
Your word.
the meaning? What is yours?
My word is impossible.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good one.
So I would like to know what's only one word that you can describe, like, okay, the meaning of design in my life. In what
To
word
be correct, I would say people.
People?
And to be
Honest.
truthful, I would say addiction.
Perfect.
Can I say mine?
Yes.
I would say perspectives, because that's really something that also the awareness of your own perspective, which allows you to, at least question how you look at things. That's maybe going back to
Which was your word?
perspectives.
Perspective.
Because it's
Good,
like
good.
you talked about colonialization
Yeah.
and so on. The awareness of how we look at things, where we're coming from, what we're bringing with us, and to try to consider different perspectives and have that discourse.
I like impossible. And yours?
Mine? Happiness.
Good.
That's a happy,
Well, you guys should
happy
go
word.
together.
Happiness.
Impossible happiness.
Sometimes.
But,
Sometimes.
yeah.
I don't agree with you.
And yours?
Having it or looking for that.
Mine,
Whatever it is.
I would say soul.
I would say I want to sleep.
Soul. I want to go to rest. No, it's like anything you design or is designed by anyone has their souls in it, because it's trying to solve something, it's thinking about someone, could be yourself, could be someone else, could be someone in the, so that's putting your soul, because in order to solve another souls around you.
Thank you for
Thanks,
the question.
thanks to you.
That was hard.
Yes. Allí vamos.
Okay.
No, there's.
There's another one.
Sí.
there.
Solo que se están turnando. They're going like from this side to this side, so they're walking.
Hello, my name is Elise dos Anjos. I'm from Brazil. I am not an awarded designer, but I'm a finalist, so this is award too, and I'm
Yes.
very happy to stay here. Thank you for you all. But my question is a little bit political. Since we awarded many projects, especially in Brazil, that I know the designers at all, and the project shows about social problems. I have when I was coming to here today, a designer from Itamar called me in the internet and asked, "Can you please picture for me that, because I was awarded, but I don't have the money to go there." And my question is, as designers, we are awarded, but we are not, at least in Brazil, we awarded many times enough to come for a award like this.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, what do you think is our main, how can I say, main paper, not paper, what can we do as bids to change this? And you too, as renowned designers in Brazil and in Germany, to help and change this in design.
Good question. Which was your project that is finalist?
It's Dudu Garcia, personal dancer.
Ah, we talked about yesterday. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Very nice one. And first of all, I have to say that to be shortlisted in any award is very important. Sometimes you say, I'm not awarded, but you are here in the exhibition, and it's congratulations. It's a point, very good one. I don't know if you have something to say in behalf of BID, but it reinforces the discussion we are having here together. That's about our contradiction in our country. We live in a country of contradictions that few can have the privilege of being here or to be invited to be here. I don't know if I have an answer to this question like this, but you gave me something to worry about, and I am a worried one from now. How can the awards be more inclusive in this case of having people awarded that can't go to receive it? It's very symbolic.
Yes, it is.
Do you have
It is.
something to say?
Yeah, I have to say, like, the bid itself, the organization of the bid, it's like one project more, like a world of projects, and we have like the same problems that you have in designing anything. So that's why, and we always ask, like, we want to give the award, like everyone, the place they deserve, not just as the award, but everyone. So it's a little bit of difficult. Like this year we have 315 projects in total, and what we want to be, it's a platform to everyone. And the awards, we try to give them like a highlighted space, but it's like the organization has the resources that it has, and we are like trying to take advantage of technology, of the internet, of everything, to give as most as we can, but we really would like to pay some money or the ticket, the plane ticket or something, at least for the awards.
Yeah,
And
at
it's
least for the
it's
awards.
like, yes, that's like one of the objectives of the organization. But it's like the money is to produce the panels and catalog that we are going to
But
have
it's-
it, and then
It's a very good
sending.
point. It's a very
But
good
it's so true. We talk about it, and we want to be like you say, like everyone is like being the platform, not just like virtual platform, but also like an opportunity for those who can't be here.
But there are, like, to give you an answer, we were a member of the board of AB Design, which is the biggest design association in Brazil. And there are some change that you can do. I was the former president, and we have an award there called Brazil Design Award that is the biggest one in Brazil.
I know, and I am awarded in Brazil.
And what we did, it's a little change that changed everything, because at the beginning, Brazil Design Award was awarding projects that has been awarded abroad. So if you have Ken Lyons, an IF design, you have some scores that give you a Brazil Design Award. This is very excludent, because people don't have money to pay. Many of these awards you have to pay when you win. You don't receive money, you pay money. So we changed, and we decided to don't have this kind of ranking, and we opened the entries for everyone and it costs some reais, our currency, that is affordable, I guess. It's not like, wow, how can I pay 150 reais? It's not that much, is it? For some, they don't have even 50, I know, but I'm talking about how to make it more democratic. But now you give me a good question
But it's also
to start,
yeah.
because since I am part of
Yeah,
many
exactly.
of these juries,
Yeah.
it's an issue that I can bring them to try.
And it's not just about giving money.
No, it's making the conditions to have them
Yes,
here.
and to be valorized by our
Yeah.
society in Brazil and all the countries too. This is really important. And you the board ones, you are the inspiration for those ones. And
Yeah.
I'm talking, I was not every time able to be here. My mother is an artist teacher from Brazil, from, I don't know how to say, Gustavo can be, Prefeitura do Rio, so she earns little money,
From
and
Rio's
it's a
mayor.
walk to get here. So I think this is, since we are awarding kind of projects like this, it's really important to look this reality, not just in Brazil, probably in many other countries.
Yeah, and there are some ways to not solve, because the best way is to bring them, but sometimes the award doesn't have
But
the money
they-
to.
yeah,
But
there's
a
also a way
video
to do it
from
locally.
the winners shown
Yeah.
here, you can publicize them. And
Yeah.
the more the award publicize the work, the more impact it will have in this kind of designers that are trying to find their places, because they are entering the awards. They are trying to be shown. They are trying
The
to
visibility.
visibility, yes, and that's a good thing, that it's not that
Yes.
expensive. That show this work to the world. Show this work in the lectures we will do. Show this work to, yeah.
But there could also be, I don't know, I'm not part of this, but I was just wondering, because the awards are being brought back to the country, for example, right? Like you will be, bringing
yes.
it back, and why couldn't there a platform basically then back home, let's say, that has a little bit of an, a public aspect to it, and then the awards
yeah.
that couldn't be received here can then be received there.
I'm not ashamed to say that I am a juror that fights for Brazil always. I always bring good results to our country, because I know how difficult it is to
But I have to say something that is about the organization of the bid is that the bid was conceived that this is the main event that happened one time a year, and after this event, the idea is that the exhibition, especially the awards, move and rotate to the world, to the countries. So we did a lot of exhibition outside. We did in Brazil, we did in Mexico, in Bolivia. Happened after the exhibition, and it's easier for the country say those are the hour we have it, and we have it at home. So it's a satellite of the bid in the country, meaning the visibility is cheaper for everyone because it's cheaper for the awardees and also for the organizations. And it's back again with the budget and about the money, but it has in place this idea that the projects rotate within the countries of Ibero-American. Yeah.
I think that we could the winners. I was thinking now that the winners could send us a video talking about the project. It's very simple. It doesn't cost nothing.
Yeah.
And we could put in the site of bid.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yes.
If every winner send us a video talking about what is the project, what was the problem, how they solve it, I think it would be very nice. We could show the designers for everyone that
We
access.
can also do a live in a bit design together, inviting them to show them.
Yes, I think it could be nice and easy to do.
Yes.
Good.
That's something like we try to do like that, like the awards have more opportunity to be shown, because in the how do you say that, the
Travel exhibit.
when the exhibition travels around, we always bring like the awards are the projects that travel, like it's a fact, and then we complement the exhibition with the local projects. So the awards are shown in more places than other awards. Also, like when we make press releases or something, we always try to talk more about awards. It depends. If we send a press communication to Venezuela, to Argentina, we focus in projects from Argentina, not just the awards, everyone. So it's like communication is our only way to prove, like to move the projects and show them. But I think we want to do more. Thank you. We agree with you.
Okay.
Hello everyone, my name is Helmut from Colombia. My project is Armanimal, a brand of wooden toys, also related to animals, inspiring Colombian animals. And I know, like, I think as designers in Ibero-America, it's so hard to get things done and like to produce them, even bring them to the market. So I congratulate everyone here because we are almost fighters or even fighters.
Yes.
And my question right now is, what do you think would be the panorama, or what would happen to design in Ibero-America living these hard times? Like even many of our countries are like struggling with the economy. So what do you think would be the scenario for designers, for we designers?
Oh my God, it's another big question.
But
It's a huge one. That's a fun. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I guess design has a historical role in solving economical, social, and political problems. So for me, when we are in this kind of period, it's a good moment for design. If they can see the potential and the power of that the design has to solve this kind of issues, and that design also is a synonym of money for who invest in design, because it's true.
Yeah.
I guess it's a positive way to look for this terrible moment we are passing through, isn't it?
Looking the glass half full.
Yeah, half full. My answer to end like up, not down.
Yeah.
No.
That's it.
Okay.
Do you have more questions? In Spanish, we translate? No?
How do I say in Spanish? Una
Another one.
salva de palmas. Salva?
Salva?
No?
Another question.
Well, it was good answer. I mean, like, it was a good answer. I also would like to ask you, what do you think about these events where many people come to find an inspiration or see what's going on with design? But I had a bad experience in Colombia that also people go to these events to steal the ideas, and I also find like my project like combined, like, yeah, it was like all transformed, and it was like a huge impact for me, like, because it's so easy to go to this event and steal ideas. What do you think about that? Like, how would it be a good idea for these events to protect maybe the projects? What do you
Say
think?
something in general. Is that okay? Well, can I?
Please.
For sure,
yeah.
you have to
Well,
answer this.
I just speak about it more in general terms. This is always a problem, and it's not like a specific local problem. It's going to these places, like especially when you're working at a university, and you see sometimes people going through these end of the year shows, and they're photographing a lot, and then you wonder like what's happening here. Actually, and more in general terms, there was a situation in this competition where one of the entries was an almost 100% copy of one of my students' work, which was really, it was very bold, right? Like, it was not like something that like looked a bit like it and so on. Even the presentation of the project was essentially almost the same. And so it's not like a local problem, unfortunately. It's something that happens everywhere. And then, of course, if I wouldn't have happened to, like, that project was published and won awards as well, so it certainly was in the public and could be looked at stolen, right? And if I wouldn't have happened to be the juror in this competition, it might have won an award. Nobody would have known, and maybe the idea was, well, this is a local, regional competition. The other one is in Europe, so nobody will know.
And it was totally by chance, because
Just totally by chance that I found out about it. So there is, unfortunately, no guarantee for this. There's, of course, I think, yes, to look for design protection. I remember the project that you did, and there's also, to a degree, like publishing something. Yes, you can say it's there's a possibility of it being stolen, but it also gives you, I could say, talk about this project and say, look, this was published, and it was published many years ago, and obviously this has been done before, right? So publishing also helps you to establish a record that this project is yours. Yeah, so it's yeah, it's like this is a real big issue in general, unfortunately, and not like a regional one, but still I think it's important to dare to go and out into the world and protect yourself as much as you can, but also protect yourself by being in public so that you can look back at that record.
Yeah, but at the same time, of course, you have to punish all this kind of entries, and it's a very serious problem that design always pass. But at the same time, today I'm always the half full. For me, there are two groups of designers: the ones who create and the ones who copy.
And,
It's only about deciding which group you want to stay
it's
in.
also,
I would say
yeah.
a bad word. I can't. Fuck the rest.
It's also like
part
if
of
you,
the,
you
isn't
know,
it?
it's also like because otherwise, I mean, what would be the opposite option, right? Like
Sorry for that.
work on your own by yourself in a room, never show anyone, never receive awards or feedback. That's the other alternative. And in the end, it's like kind of in a similar way, but saying it in a different way. You have
A more
another
polite one.
well, you have another great project, right? Like nobody can steal as fast as you can produce.
Yeah, you do another one. Yeah, that's it.
Well, I think also like seeing the half glass full. We have like this is the world, and that's how people is. And like in design and in anything you can find in the world, you are going to find these kind of people that are stealing ideas or something. Maybe you can say it like well, I can do it better, I can do it cheaper, I can do it faster, or or if you can't do it, you can think that you give the idea to someone else to solve someone's problem, and you can go for another idea that are going to help you to help some more people, and you can also earn money with that and improve that another idea, and you are going to be a creative all your life. So you also can be thankful with those kind of people that makes you be awake and go for more.
I think, yeah. It's also, yeah. I think part also, what I want to say is not like about neglecting ownership of work, right? Which is really important and crucial. But sometimes I tell my students there is nothing that has never been done before.
Yeah.
And we have to also be aware of that we're not recreating the world, we are not, we contribute, we bring our own personal, subjective perspective to something, but it's not reinventing the wheel either, right? Like this, everything is really a collaborative process, and people have done something else, maybe similar, that also inspired you to do something, and vice versa. So I think, and it's not like, I'm not saying just steal, right? Like that's not what I'm saying, but it's something to keep in mind that every project, every toy, anything has also to a degree been done in one way or another. So that, I think sometimes that is a good thing to just keep in mind. It's collaborative. Like when we talk about someone invented something, like TV or so, it's ridiculous, right? Like that person that is known for it couldn't have done it without these other 100 people doing something else prior to it.
And complementing this, yesterday I was talking with the team in the networking. I don't know if Ivana told it, but it's like I don't know in other territories, but as Americans, as Ibero-Americans, we always are afraid of telling our ideas to anyone or our projects because it's going to be bad if you talk about it. And I like to think that there are more good people than bad people, and if you ask for help and you can talk and ask for someone to, I don't know, to a little help or maybe ideas or working together, you can find some bad experiences in your life, but you for sure are going to find more people that are willing to help you than to affect you in bad ways.
Yeah, some people do mentorship, you know, like that are already there out in the professional world and want to become mentors to people who are just starting up. I think it's always a good idea to look into, you know, not that you have to do all of that, but, you know, into maybe writing, like signing an agreement when you know, talk to someone about it, so that there's an understanding both ways, which companies do as well when you work with them, because they're showing you things and so on. So they're, you know, like it's good to be informed about what you can do, but I think it's important to not be, frozen by it.
Nice.
You know.
Okay.
Is there anyone else? No?
Well, just to close, thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Gustavo,
Thank
and Lorena,
you.
of course.
Thank
for
you,
being
and
here.
thank you
And for the whole thing.
for inviting us.
Yes, that's very,
we
very
Thank you
it
for
was a
accepting.
pleasure.
And for real, thank
Yeah.
you to all the people and designers, because this is yours and by you and because of you and for you and everything you. Thank you.